Hello, everyone. My name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your host for this evening as we talk about how to secure grants for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. I want you to come on into the room and say hello to me. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I am the owner of LaPav Consulting, and I'm going to be your host for this evening while we talk about how to secure the bag, yes, for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. So I am in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, where it's been like 50 degrees. So let me tell you, I am not complaining because there has been times during this time of the month where we've had a foot of snow on the ground. So let me know who is coming in. Hey, give your city and your state a shout out. Let me know where you're joining from. Again, my name is Linda Peavy, and I am the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your host for this evening where we talk about how to get the bag. Hey, Lenore and me and Essence and Victoria and Yanni and Kim and Catherine. Give your city and state a shout out so that I know where you are joining in from. Listen, we have a jam-packed evening, all right? People who know me know that like this is a no fluff zone. I have so much information. Hey, we've got Texas joining us and Pemberton, and hey, me in Toledo. I lived in Toledo for a few years. Donna's coming in from Alabama. The Bama is represented. My parents are from the Bama. And Melissa's from NOLA. Is that New Orleans? And Laura is coming in from Fort Lauderdale. And we've got Karen representing Baltimore. All right. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I am the owner of LaPav Consulting. I'm going to be your host where we talk about how you are going to start getting grants, right, for your Black-owned organization and your Black-led nonprofit. So we're going to get moving because we have a lot of program to share with you, right? And so just a bit of housekeeping before we get started. I have a lot of information to share. Please do ask questions, okay? Don't be scared. Put those questions in the Q&A, right? And the chat if you want to, because we're going to get to the Q&A at the end. So I don't want you to go anywhere, right? Stay until the end. We'll do the Q&A. I have a bonus surprise for you. But right now, we're going to get started. And you're going to see like my 30-second TV commercial, which will just give you a little bit more information about me and who I am and what I've been doing and how I've been able to help so many people and how I can help you. All right, we are off to the races. Okay.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of LaPav Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how LaPav Consulting can help.
All right, so that's just a little bit about me, and we are going to start with our presentation right now. All right, so the first thing I want to do is make sure everybody is in the right place. So this is grant writing for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. This is my 7 p.m. live session. I was also live at noon, and let me tell you, it was lit, it was fire. We had such a great time, and I know we're going to have a great time tonight. So we're off to the races. Be sure you put those questions into the Q&A and the chat as we go along, because I will be answering those questions for you at the end of the webinar. So yes, they call me the grants queen because I have been able to secure over $17 million in funding in business development. And I also have written those scoring templates, right, that help organizations to score grant applications. I have written those requests for proposals. And yes, I do help organizations to build partnerships. I also host grant writing workshops all across the country for the Urban League and many other organizations. And I am a proud alumnus of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. And I've been the executive director of a nonprofit. So Those of you who are nonprofits, I know where you are, right? And I know how you feel about getting grants. So let me know who's with me. Are you a for-profit? Are you a nonprofit? Or what I'm finding is that we have a lot of for-profits that are starting nonprofits. So maybe you're both. So let me know in the chat, for-profit, nonprofit, or maybe you are both. All right. So a little bit more about my journey, right, to getting to the 17 million. I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania years ago, but I got hurt. I had to come back home literally in a wheelchair because I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. And it took me 2 years to recuperate. And after 2 years, I found myself without a job, even though I had literally more than 25 years of experience in marketing, but most of it was in publishing, right? And as you can imagine, like Cleveland is like not the publishing mecca of the United States. So I had to literally open LePav Consulting out of necessity. So who do we have? We have a lot of both. Excellent. Excuse me. We have for-profits, nonprofits, and quite a few who are both. Excellent. Excellent. Doesn't matter whether you are a for-profit or a nonprofit, this webinar is going to help you. So I started LePav Consulting as a for-profit. This is my 15th year of owning my company, so I feel very blessed. And when I started LePav, one of my first positions was to be a contract executive director of a nonprofit, right? Got the position literally within like the first week. I was called into the board of directors office, and I was told that I had to write a grant literally to save my job, to save the job of the executive director and thus the organization, right? And let me tell you, it was daunting because I didn't know what a grant was. I mean, I had no experience with grants. I had never written a grant before in my life. And all of a sudden I have to write this grant to literally save my job. And let me just say, look, we can be real tonight. Okay. How many times have we, people who look like us, been called in to save a project, save a program, and sometimes save the entire organization? So if you know what I mean, say yes in the chat, because that's exactly what I had to do. Well, I take a step, and you know what? I did it. I learned about grant writing, and I saved my job, and I saved the organization. And you know what? I learned that there's a connection between learning how to write grants and getting free money. You're going to hear that all night long. Free, 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 right? I'm about making sure that you have opportunities that are free. Amira, yes. Tawana, yes. Erica, yes. Delissa, yes. Lenora, yes. You know what I'm talking about. Yes. Amen. Sherry, you know what I'm talking about, right? We're called in oftentimes to save the day. Okay. So I learned that there's a connection, right, between learning how to write grants and getting free grant money. It's a process. I'm here to teach you the process, right? This is what we'll cover today. Why this class is important. 3 keys to funding, grant basics, prepare to apply. That's important. You have to prepare to apply for grants, what to write, how to write. We'll talk a little bit about bid proposals. How do you get that application notice in a sea of competition, right? Then we'll talk about grant research. How do you find your perfect funder? Then I have a surprise for you, but also I have a list of available grants right now that you can apply for, right? So we are off to the races. Why this class? Well, we know Black nonprofits and entrepreneurs, we need help with funding. You know what? It shouldn't always be about loans. We want free funding. We want free grant funding. But guess what? There is a lack of qualified professional freelance grant writers, let me tell you, to help organizations. There is a difference between a professional grant writer and somebody who writes grants, right? I hear horror stories almost every day, literally, emails, Facebook messages of people being scammed, people saying, oh, pay me $50, I'll write you 3 grants. No. That is simply not how it works, right? A professional seasoned grant writer like myself, we charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour to write a grant, right? But guess what? You can learn the skills yourself Because let me tell you, nobody is going to tell your story better than you, right? And here's the secret. You do not have to be a professional grant writer to secure grants. What do you need? You need to know the process. And so that's what I'm going to teach you tonight. We're talking about what to write that showcases your organization's services. How do you write them? And then how do you attract an organization that literally wants to give you funding? Okay. So first things first, 2 different incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19, right? So when COVID-19 happened, what took place with small businesses? We started going out of business, right? And if you can imagine, this was very, very detrimental to so many of us because small businesses, we're the backbone of this country. And so foundations and major corporations took notice and they said, we have to do something, right? So what did they do? They created pools of money that they earmarked for small businesses and nonprofits. That is why right now, I have never seen the amount of money available for small businesses. Now, you know that when you thought of a grant, you thought of nonprofits, but no, because of this money that was created for small businesses, there is money available for profits. Yes, for profits, right? Now, that was beneficial to Black-owned organizations as well, and Black-owned businesses, and then Black-led nonprofits. Now, if you see any of the COVID-19 grants that are available, what you want to do is really talk about how you were affected by COVID-19. Did you have to close? Did you have to lay off employees, right? How are you recovering? So they're still out there. If you see them, really talk about how you were affected. Excuse me. The next incident was the George Floyd incident. So when George Floyd was murdered, once again, foundations and major corporations saw what everybody else saw, and they said, we have to do something. Like, we have to do something to address racial injustice in this country. And what did they do? They took what they had available, which was large sums of money, and they created grant opportunities specifically for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits, especially in the areas of racial injustice. If you're working what we call DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and even socially conscious causes. So let's say you're helping the homeless or those who are living below the federal poverty line, right? Excuse me. These particular grant opportunities are for you. Now, we benefit from that as Black-owned businesses, right? And women-owned businesses. That's why, again, right now, the money is available. So don't think it's not. And yes, as a for-profit, not just a nonprofit, as a for-profit, you are able to get the funding, right? Now we're going to talk about grant basics. What do you need to know? Grants are not paid back. Now, for the next minute, I'm only talking to nonprofits. You need your 501c3. What is it? That is your tax-exempt charitable organization designation by the IRS. And let me tell you, there are scammers out there. If somebody tells you they can get you a 501c3, do a military turn and run in the other direction, okay? Only the IRS can provide a 501c3. Why is it important? Because foundations, for the most part, will only give grants to nonprofits that are 501c3, okay? How do you get it? You apply with the Internal Revenue Service. Now, the good news is that it used to take 3 to 6 months to get your 501c3. Now, it's 6 to 8 weeks, okay? Whatever you do, please try to avoid using a fiscal agent. The fiscal agent is the organization that currently has their 501c3. So if you're able to get grant money, which is rare if you don't have one, they get the money for you, right? And then they give it to you. And that's exactly why foundations prefer not to deal with fiscal agents, right? Because if they're giving you money for your organization, they want it to go directly to you. They do not want it to go through a third party. So nonprofits, get your 501c3. Now, look at this slide here. People thought that we were in a pandemic and the money was just gone and nobody was giving. No. It increased. This is just from foundations, right? We're not even talking about corporate giving. Foundation giving in 2021 increased to $90 billion. All right. And when the 2022 numbers come out, it will even be a larger increase. Look at this number, people. $90 billion. That is a lot of money, right? And look, we don't need it all. We're not trying to get all of it. We're just trying to get a little bit of it. So I want you to put into the chat, I just need a little bit. Look, we're not trying to be greedy. We just want a little bit into the chat. I just need a little bit, right? Can you imagine what you would be able to do with just a little bit of $90 billion, okay? I want to see in the chat, I just need a little bit, right? Nobody's trying to be greedy. We just need enough money to open and flourish and grow, right? And we can do that with just a little bit. That's right, Catherine. That's right, Victoria, Dana. We just need a little bit. Nobody's trying to be greedy, right? Lenora, we're not trying to be greedy. We just want a little bit of the $90 billion, okay? And I'm here to show you how to get a little bit. Yes, Kwame, just a little bit. Karen, just a little bit. Shambi, oh, I hope I pronounced that right. Essence, just need a little bit. Now, how do you prepare to write grants? Is a mistake that too many organizations make. They see a grant application, they download it, they complete it, they fill it out, and they wonder why they get a rejection letter. I want you to just hone up just a little on your writing skills. Now, we know there's 5 basic writing skills. We're just going to ignore 1 through 4 right now. We're going to focus on editing and rewriting, because what I don't want you to do is submit an application that is full of what? Grammatical errors. So this is where our friends at Grammarly come in. I love Grammarly. Grammarly is a free, there's that word again, free software editing tool. And if you use Grammarly, give yourself a shout out. I love Grammarly, right? It will make you a better writer. And I'm going to be giving you tea all evening. This is the first cup of tea. I want you to download this article as homework, right? Improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. This article is going to make you a better writer. I'm a professional writer and professional editor. I use it. I've used this article. It will make you a better writer. So we're just honing up on our writing skills, okay? So thank you so much, Erica, my assistant, for dropping that link in there. Hey, Lenora's an English major. You know, we're not going to submit those applications full of those grammatical errors. No way. All right, next. How do you prepare? You need to get your documentation in order. Your EIN, that's your employer identification number. Nonprofits, your 501c3, don't use that fiscal agent. Now, your for-profits, you need your business license or your state certification. This becomes so important now. Not every state requires one, so you need to do more homework. Check with your Secretary of State's website. Find out whether or not you as a for-profit need a business license to do business legally in your state. I was giving my webinar a couple of months ago. A young lady was on and she said, Linda, you're absolutely right. I was applying for a grant. The competition was stiff and I was the only one to get the grant because nobody else had their business license. Nobody else had their state certification. Now, again, it is different for every state. So some states don't even require you to have a business license. I'm in Ohio, and you must have a business license to do business and to be seen as a legitimate business in the state of Ohio. So check. What else do you need? Your list of board members, your staff. Letters of support are important. Why? Because you want to be able to show the funder that you have other organizations that support you. Who are they coming from? Could be your pastor, your church, community leaders, right? Politicians, right? The mayor, even your vendors. You want to show that, yes, there are other organizations that support your work. The audited financial statement, if it's required, it's not always required. If it is, you will need a CPA to complete that financial statement. Now, the operating budget. Of course, you need an operating budget, but for you startups, you might think, oh, I'm not there yet. Yes, you are. You need an operating budget. Why? Because the operating budget will allow you to determine how much money is it going to take for you to open. You need to know whether it's a for-profit or a nonprofit. You need to know how much money is going to take you to open up. And when you create that operating budget, line by line, you may have money to pay for the lease. You may have money to pay for people, But when you look at that budget, you might start to see gaps. You may see, oh my gosh, I didn't put any money in here for marketing. Okay, I need to write a grant for marketing. It will help you determine where your gaps are and where you need grant funding. So yes, for you startups, you still need an operating budget. Next, you need a list of other funding sources. Why? Because no funder wants to be the only one to fund you. If I'm providing you a grant, and you know grants are not guaranteed in year 2 just because you get them in year 1. If I give you a grant in year 1, I may not give you a grant in year 2. I don't want to shoulder the responsibility of you closing if I don't give you a grant in year 2. That's why funders want to know that you have a number of organizations funding you. Now, funding could be grants, could be donations, but they could also be in-kind donations, right? Maybe someone is providing you with merchandise or product or services. So be sure you put in that grant application any other funding sources that you have. Hey, Catherine, you use Grammarly in college. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody needs to have it. It is phenomenal. Now, what to write to get funding? We're going to go through your typical grant components of a typical grant application, right? And then we're going to go through each one of these one by one. So your summary, mission, history, leadership, description of your organization, your statement of need, that's your target market, how you describe your project, community partnerships, your results, which are your outputs, outcomes, and impact, the staff, your leadership, and this leadership pertains to your board because your board is part of your leadership, your budget, and sustainability. Now, we're off to the races. Summary. What do you need to know? Don't be fooled. This is the first part of your grant application, but you always write it last. You'll see it first, write it last, because it's going to contain the most compelling components of your grant application. So don't be fooled. It's going to come first. You always write it last. It's the first segment of the grant that people will see. So it has to be compelling. So pull pieces from that grant application and create your summary. Next, your mission vision statement. Now, most of you should have a mission statement, but do you have a vision statement? This is more homework. What is your vision statement? Is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are meeting and obtaining your mission statement, right? So more homework. If you don't have a vision statement, create one. The mission is so important because it will help you to find your perfect funder, right? You want to align your mission to the mission and the cause of the funder. So if you are focused on K through 12 education, you want to make sure the mission of the funder or the foundation is also focused on K through 12 education. Okay. There needs to be an alignment there, right? This is how you find that perfect funder for you. All right. Next, history. Now, for you startups, you might think, well, I don't have a history. I haven't even started yet. No. Every organization has a history, right? Your history can also be the impetus for you starting the organization and your experiences, right? I use the example of the retired principal. She's opening up a tutoring organization. She's going to tutor high school students, grades 9 through 12. And you might think, well, she's just starting up. There's no history. But when she was a principal, she saw that those students were failing in math and reading, and they were underperforming. So she started the tutoring agency when she retired to help bring those students' reading and math grades up to grade level and up to proficiency. And so by her being in that high school, it let her open up her tutoring organization. So don't think because you don't have a long history of being in business that you don't have a history at all, because you want to be able to use what really pushed you to open up that organization. Next, your leadership. There you're just talking about your executive leadership. Could be your CEO, your COO. Always remember to include your board. They're part of your leadership too. Next, you're describing your organization. What has been your track record of working with whatever that target population is, which we'll talk about in a second, okay? What has been your success rate, your success factors, right? What has been your experience with whatever the subject matter is that you're working with? For the principal, well, she spent years leading a high school. So that's her experience working with kids, right? Next, statement of need. What is the problem? And here you have to understand There's always a problem. There's always an issue that you should be addressing. I don't care what kind of organization you have, whether it's service related or if you have a product, you should always be addressing an issue, and you talk about how you are addressing an issue in the grant application. I'll give you an example. Let's take a bakery, right? What is she making? She's making like cakes and cupcakes and cookies. You might think, well, how is she resolving a problem? Well, maybe it's a vegan bakery, and she's addressing all of the vegans who they want great pastries too, right? Or she's wanting to locate in a downtown community where there's been many other failed businesses, right? And so when she relocates there, she's going to be literally helping to build up the economic development of that area that she's moving in. Or, excuse me, she's going to be addressing the businesses in the community, right? To make sure that they have this elaborate bakery that they can use to impress their clients, right? With catering, because right now they don't have a great bakery. So no matter what you're doing, always think of it as, how am I addressing an issue? Because that is truly going to set your grant application apart from your competitors, right? Doesn't matter what you're doing, because that issue is how you connect with the funder, because that area of interest is how you meet the person that's going to give you money. Because if you are addressing homelessness, you're going to look for a foundation that's also addressing homelessness. Now, how do you find out the information about the foundation or the funder, right? 90% of foundations do not have a website. I'm going to say that again. 90% of foundations do not have a website. So what do? Well, you look at the 990. It is a gold mine of information, right? It is the tax document that foundations have to submit, right, to the IRS. That's their tax form. It's going to give you information about the leadership of the organization, right? The board members of the organization. And if you scroll to the back, there's going to be a list of all of the organizations that they have donated to. And you go to that list and you start looking for similar organizations, because then you know there's a match there. So if you have an equestrian program where you utilize horses to help heal veterans, and you see that while they've given money to similar organizations, that may be a foundation that you want to pursue. Okay. How do you pursue them, right? How do you get that 990 form? There's that word again, free. Well, now you could certainly pay for organizations to allow you access to a website where you can get 990s, but not tonight. Okay. You can go to this website for free, projects.propublica.org/nonprofits. It will give you the 990 form of any organization that has filed a 990 for what? For free. And we like free. Okay. So don't sleep on 990s. Okay. They are a gold mine of information for you. Now, the next section is your target population. Who are you helping? And whatever you do not say everybody. You cannot help everybody. Okay. You have to answer this question. Who is best served by your service or your product? It can't be everybody, right? And this is how you drill down to find out who's giving you money, who can give you money. Because whatever that target population is, you can match it with the funder, right? Because they will have a similar interest. So you look at the demographics of who you're serving. Maybe you have an organization that helps gender, right? It's for women, okay? Maybe it's based on ethnicity and it's geared towards African Americans. Maybe it's based on income and you're helping those who live below the federal poverty line. Maybe your organization is a daycare, so you're helping children that are under 5, right? Maybe it's based on geography and you're helping those in your current community, or maybe it's regional. Whatever you do, you can get these demographics from the U.S. Census Fast Facts. Once again, free site that you can use to get your demographics, because that cupcake bakery shop that's locating in the downtown community, she wants to know about that particular region, right? How many businesses are there, right? What is maybe the educational attainment of those who live in the area? All kinds of information, right? Let's say you're daycare. You want to know how many kids that are under the age of 5 that live in the community before you open, right? All of that information, census.gov, quick facts. Don't sleep on the census, okay? What we're doing, we're telling a story. You are telling your story, right? You have to remember you are selling your organization to this foundation, right? But whatever you do not make yourself the hero of that grant narrative. Who is the hero? Your target population, right? Why? Because that's where the transformation takes place. Let's take those students that are getting tutoring, right? They may raise their reading and math scores and be able to graduate high school and maybe go on to college or join the military or take a trade, right? The transformation occurs in their lives. Let's say you are helping the homeless to get shelter, and that homeless person finally has a roof over his or her head. Okay, once they have shelter, maybe they can get a job or go back to school. The transformation takes place with whom you are helping, right? So always think about keeping that target population at the center of your story, right? And it doesn't have to be a product. It could be a service-based organization. Let's say you're a career development consultant, right? And you have people who've been fired, or maybe they're just looking to understand what their next step is, right? Maybe they don't know if they want to go back to a 9 to 5 or they want to open up their own business, right? And by you helping them, you are putting all that talent back into the job market, or you're helping a person determine what their next step in life is going to be, right? The transformation occurs within whom you are helping. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're writing that grant application. Are you telling your story the best? Those of you who have submitted grant applications, did you really talk about how you changed lives, right? And it doesn't have to be complicated. Let's go back to the bakery. You might think, well, how is that person changing lives? Well, that person is employing people, right, at that bakery, right? There's a way in which you can showcase real examples, testimonials, case studies. Absolutely. You need to be doing this. If you have a website, you need to have a video of testimonials on your website. Absolutely. And for those of you who don't think you need a website, you do. Let me tell you that your website is one of the first places foundations go to find out about your organization. It is not your Facebook page. It is your website. Yes, you need a website, and it doesn't have to be pricey. My web developer is phenomenal. I've had her she's been actually working as a web developer and a web designer for over 25 years. I've been working with her for at least 10 years. She's phenomenal. If you want her information, just put your email address into the chat and I will send that information to her. Either way, you need a website because you want that video on the homepage. And look, the video doesn't have to be complicated. You can really have your client, somebody who you are serving, use their phone. And people know I'm an Android girl, but if you have that iPhone, you can do the same thing, I guess. Have them use that phone and literally talk for a minute about how it is the best cupcake they've ever had in their entire life, okay? This does not have to be complicated. Those testimonials need to go on your home page, okay? Use video. It is your friend, okay? Now, you have decisions to make. Are you asking for operating dollars or program project dollars, right? What is the difference? If you're asking for operating dollars, you can put the money anywhere you want. It can be towards rent or employees or marketing, right? Or you may have a specific program. That bakery, she wants to start a delivery service. So that's her specific project, right? What you need to know, and this again is where too many organizations fail. You should be applying to multiple foundations. Please don't tell me you're only applying to one foundation. You should always apply to multiple foundations, okay? Even for the same project. So let's say you need $20,000 to hire 1099 consultants, right? Or contract workers. You're applying to Foundation A for $20,000 and Foundation B for $20,000. Now, let's say you get them both and you end up with $40,000. What are you going to do with that grant money? What you're not going to do is give it back. We don't give back grant money, okay? What you can do is increase the hours of the 1099 employee, or maybe hire a second 1099 employee. Okay, but you should always be applying to multiple foundations. And you can apply to Foundation A for operating dollars and then Foundation B for program project dollars. Okay, either way, please, please, please apply to multiple foundations, right? So now we're describing your project or your service. Talk about why it's been successful if you have a number of years of experience in your business, or if it's something new to you, talk about why you think it will be successful, right? So let's take the tutoring organization. The principal wants to use project-based learning to tutor the kids. She needs to do some research to make sure that project-based learning has been successful in helping 9 through 12 urban students succeed, okay? So you may have to do some research if it's something new. Either way, you are addressing the need always, detailing your activities, and talking about how you are solving an issue. And of course, you need a very realistic timeline, okay? Next, we're talking about community partnerships. And I've seen this section on probably every grant application in the last 5 or 6 years. It is so important that you understand the connections that you can get through collaborations. This does not have to mean an exchange of money, okay? Think about who you can collaborate with, who you can use as a partner for your organization. It could be a third-party vendor, right? This is really great for new organizations that want to connect with very well-seasoned veteran organizations that are well-respected in the community. I was writing a grant several years ago for a third grade class of Black students, right? Third graders. And we wanted to teach them the violin. Well, we were working with the Cleveland Orchestra, clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world. Okay, can you imagine how great that looked on that grant application at this one small urban school? Was getting ready to work with the Cleveland Orchestra and have their employees come and teach these students the violin after class. So it's important to collaborate. Who can you collaborate with? Urban League, HBCUs, the Y, other organizations. Let's take that bakery. And again, there does not have to be an exchange of money. There can be if they're providing a service to you, right? There can be, but there doesn't have to be. That bakery is partnering with an event planner, and she's placing flyers out in her shop to help advertise the event planner. The event planner is utilizing, right, the bakery, right? But not only is she utilizing the bakery, but she has flyers where she is recommending the bakery to her clients. Think about how you can collaborate with other organizations in your community. You're going to get this question about how you are serving the community. It could be through a partnership, okay? So think about ways in which you can collaborate. And there does not have to be an exchange of money. Now we're talking about results, forecasting. And I don't want you to get scared of the word forecasting, because all you're doing is writing down what you think your future results are going to be. That's all you're doing. Now, some grant applications ask for one of these, some ask for all three. Outputs, outcomes, impact. What are outputs? Those are the immediate results. You give me money, this is what's going to happen. Outcomes typically happen maybe 6 months to a year down the road as a result of my immediate results, right? This is what's going to happen 6 months from now. Impact takes place a little bit further along, sometimes a year to 2 years down the road, but it's as a result of the activities that took place because of the outcomes that happen as a result of the outputs. I'll give you an example. A daycare center wanted $20,000 to open. They wrote in the grant application, if you give me $20,000, we have researched the location. We are going to open. We're going to serve 100 families and 250 children, right? Well, immediately we're going to open. Well, because we chose a great location, in 6 months, we're going to be able to grow our capacity by 40%. And we're going to add 24/7 services, right? Now, that's going to happen 6 months from now. A year or two from now, because we grew our capacity by 40% and we added 24/7 services, this is what's going to happen. This will be our impact. 25% of our families will experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7. Like Wouldn't you experience less stress if you could drop your kids off 24/7? Yes. 65% of children will demonstrate improved behavior because we have this awesome educational program, right? And in a year to two from now, we're going to expand to 2 locations. So all you're doing is writing in that grant application what you foresee happening if you get the grant money now, okay? Also, you're going to be asked for goals, right? You need to put in SMART goals. Some of you may know what these are. They're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. SMART goals. So let's say I have a program and I say that my goal is I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. Well, that's a huge, broad goal, right? How do you change it to a SMART goal? You can say, I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame. What did I do there? See what I did? I added data and statistics. That's how you change a goal to a SMART goal. You add data and stats, right? Also, you need to talk about how are you going to assess your program, right? What are assessment tools? Surveys. I love SurveyMonkey, right? Jotform is another one. That restaurant can provide surveys, right? To see if her clients really were using the delivery service, or the reading and math assessment test will be able to help the tutorer know whether or not the program was successful. The before and after math and reading scores, right? So talk about ways in which you can show how you're going to prove that your program is working, right? Now, with the staff, especially for you for-profits, you probably have not updated that bio or that resume in years. Whomever is leading the program will need a current bio and resume. And whomever you are putting in charge of the program, you will need to submit their bio and resume too. Why? Because this is all about oversight. Funders and foundations want to know that you're putting the right people in charge of the right program. At the end of the day, it's accountability. Next is budget. What do you need to know? Itemize those expenses. If you're asking for $50,000 for an executive director, you can't just say I need 50 grand for an ED. Okay, $50,000, what is it for? Are you paying them per month? Are you paying them for every 6 months? Is it a year? Are they a W-2 employee? If so, you're going to need another line for benefits, right? Or maybe it's a 1099 contracted ED. Be specific. Where do you be specific? In the budget narrative. You put the figures in the budget and then talk about what those numbers are going to be utilized for and how often in the budget narrative. But whatever you do, make sure you are connecting that money back to the goal of the program. So if you're looking for an ED, you can say that ED is going to lead the program that will help us reach our mission statement, right? Now, sustainability, this is a fun one. How will you show that foundation that in year 2, when you may not get the grant money, you're still going to be able to sustain your program? Because remember what I said before, just because you get a grant in year 1 does not mean you're going to get the money in year 2. So that organization, that foundation, they don't want to shoulder the responsibility of that, whether it's a project or a program, going under if they don't get grant money in year 2, right? So you have to show on that application, how are you going to sustain, right, the program if you don't have any more grant money? You have to talk about this. Now, think about that high school. That high school got the $20,000 for the tutoring program, right? They have to write in that application what they would do to make sure that they were going to still get the $20,000 in year 2 to pay for the tutoring program. So I want you to put into the chat. Think about this. This is a high school. What could a high school say and write in that grant application that would showcase that in year 2, yes, we can come up with the money. We can come up with $20,000. What do you think they might be able to put in terms of saying in year 2, we're going to be able to get the $20,000? How could a high school write that they're going to be able to come up with $20,000 in year 2? I want you to put into the chat. Really think about this, right? High school. Yes, fundraisers, right? They could write into the application fundraisers. How about a talent show, right? What about a musical? Maybe it's a community musical. right? What about a car wash? What about, yes, me, fundraising? What about a bake sale, right? You have to think about ways in which you're going to put in that application how you can still come up with the money to sustain your organization, right? In year 2, yes, Catherine, a bake sale. Absolutely. So keep this in mind. So those of you who are bidding on contracts, just one word of advice: please don't focus on the numbers. Don't try to underbid, because it's going to be a red flag. Okay? Because if I'm a contractor and I put out a bid to build a fence, I'm going to have a good idea that that fence is going to cost maybe $1 million, right? So if you give me a bid saying that you are only bidding $50,000, I know you're not the one, right? You're using crazy cheap labor products. You don't have the capacity. So what I want you to do is focus on what makes you different, right? Maybe your staff is experienced in building fences, right? Maybe you never missed a deadline, right? Maybe you have experience building 1,000 fences. So don't be over focused on trying to underbid, because it might end up being a red flag. Okay. I am talking about what you need to do really before you write a single syllable in that application. It is so important that you have a mindset. I tell you, a mindset of winning, because we know that people that look just like you and me, they're getting grant money every single day. And you can too. But do not go into this thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do it. Can't write a grant. It's 200 pages. No. First of all, grants are no longer 200 pages, right? For-profit grants, I've seen 3, 4, 5 pages max. Last month, Barclay Bank was giving away $25,000. They wanted 500 words. Okay. I saw 2 multi-million-dollar federal grants. Each one wanted 15 double-spaced pages. That's 7 or 8 single-spaced pages. Please don't think you can't do this. And with AI, and I mentioned earlier, I'm giving a training in the future on how to incorporate AI into your grant writing. This is not hard. This is not hard, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to use somebody else's money to open up your organization or to expand. Like, I want you to stop bootstrapping and digging your purse and your pockets and your piggy bank and trying to get loans, right, from people who don't want to give you money. Okay, get this free money because it is available right now. This next slide, if you don't take anything else away from this webinar, I want you to understand this. Whatever you do, please meet with the funder first. Meet with the funder first. This is critical, because in that meeting, you're going to learn more about the grant than they ever put on the website. They're going to learn more about you than they will ever be able to get from your website, right? In that meeting, they are going to be able to talk to you about what you need to do to get the grant if they like you. If they like you, they will tell you what to put on that grant application. I've been in too many of these meetings, right? And literally set up a client meeting last month, 30 minutes, wasn't even in person, it was Zoom. They had never met the client, didn't know anything about the nonprofit. All they knew was that they give funding for organizations that serve veterans, and this organization served veterans. After that 30-minute meeting, he walked away with $30,000. It happened literally maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago. The same thing happened. Set up a meeting. The client walked away with an immediate $5,000 and then a $30,000 guarantee over the next 3 years because they met with the funder. The funder didn't know them at all, but that's the importance of that meeting. Now, I've been in too many different of these meetings where literally I've heard the foundation leaders say, look, if they haven't called me, haven't contacted me, haven't emailed me, that application might go into the trash. Now, not all foundations do that. Of course they don't. But you don't want to risk it, right? So do your due diligence. Some foundations don't want to meet with you, and that's fine, right? But if they do, if you have the opportunity, find out if you can meet with them because it will make a difference. Now, these are some do's. The next is time management. People. Grants are time sensitive, okay? If the deadline is 4:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you try to put in that application at 5 o'clock, you're going to have a bad, sad day, okay? Because it's going to be too late. Please adhere to the deadlines, okay? Answer every question. If you don't have an answer, don't just leave it blank, because if you're including the information to an online portal, it might reject the application because the question was left blank. So if it does not pertain to you, just put NA, okay? And then whatever you do, please have somebody else look at that application, because you don't want to put in an application with grammatical errors. No, no, no. And don't use cookie cutter answers based on a template. Look, I love templates. They're so helpful when you're looking at information that remains the same, like your mission statement, your history. But in this happens, somebody wanted to literally take an application, copy and paste it, and put it into 20 other applications. No, 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 no. Every application is different, right? So please don't use those cookie cutter answers. I always read the question 3 times. Whatever you do, don't ask for too much money when you are approaching a funder for the first time. Now, some foundations, they will tell you the amount of the grant, and that's great. But especially community foundations, they don't tell you how much to ask for. You have to tell them what you want. And when you go in that meeting, right, don't ask for $100,000, because you're not going to get it, right? I always recommend that first time asking for anywhere between $5,000 and $25,000, okay? And then whatever you do, use Grammarly, okay? Now, I told you how important it is to meet with the funder. How do you do this? You send a letter of introduction. This letter is going to talk about your organization, talk about the need, the target population. You're going to match up those mission statements. You're not going to ask for money, okay? You're trying to get a meeting, right? Now, who do you send this letter to? You can do some research, that 990, and get the person's name, right? But how do you know where to send it? What I don't want you to do is send it to like info@abcfoundation.org, because it's going to go into the hemisphere and I don't know where it's going and if it's ever coming back. You need a real email address, right? And I've been giving you tea all evening. This is the teapot, okay? You need to use this program. It is called getemail.io. And let me tell you, it is amazing. It will give you the email address of just about anybody in the world that works for an organization, right? Or a company. I use it all the time. I've gotten emails from people in Italy, France, Germany, you name it, right? Because you want the email address of that person that you know who to send it to. And guess what? There's this word again, free. It is free for like maybe the first 10 or 15 emails. And then you have to pay. It's maybe about $60 a month. But utilize those free emails to get the information that you need so that you know who you are sending the email to. I tell you, it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. All right. So now we're up to the grant research. I'm going to tell you how you find this money. The Foundation Directory Online, that's the leading source of information about U.S. funders, right? It's about $50 a month. And when you put in information, it's going to give you a list of funders, right? Just funders, not grants, funders. Instrumental.com, they're really pricey. They're about $200 a month. They give you the funder, the grant, right? The open grant application. They give you the 990. They give you a ton of other information and free training. But again, they're pricey at $200 a month. Grants.gov, we know that's the free source for federal grants. Those of you who are churches or faith-based organizations, the Lilly Foundation is the largest funder of religious organizations in the country. Okay, and that's a free site. If you have any type of educational programming, you want to check out grantgopher.com. I love Grant Watch because they're easy to use and have a ton of last-minute grants. And it will give you the actual grant opening. Grant Gopher will give you the grant opening, right? And so it will tell you whether or not it's for nonprofit or for-profit. GrantStation.com, I love them because they have a number of for-profit grants, right? Now, Grant Watch is about $20 a week. GrantStation is about $200 a year. Well, I take a sip, but Grant Station had a deal where they were providing their membership for free to nonprofits. So you want to check them out to see if they are still providing a year's program right for free. Now, we're Black-owned organizations. You want to know about UrbanawarenessUSA.org. They are Black-owned, and they give tons of information about grants that are for minority organizations, right? Now, what do? I want to just bypass this slide because I want to get to what that homepage looks like. And then on the other slide, I have the same information at the bottom here. So this is the homepage of Grant Station, right? You want to put in criteria. Are you a business, a nonprofit, an individual? Do you want to look for local grants or national grants? And I always recommend, please don't sleep on local grants. It's easy, they're easier to get. And once you get local money, it tends to be a little bit easier to get national dollars, okay? So start local. You can do both, but just make sure you don't forego local opportunities, right? You put in where you want the foundation to be located, whether it's locally or nationally. What type of grant do you want? Are you looking for a federal grant or a foundation grant? Who are you helping? Who are you targeting, right? Veterans, the homeless. What is your area of interest, right? You put all this information into the homepage, you push a button and up pops literally a list of grant opportunities based on all of the information that you put into the portal, okay? So that's how you get the grant opportunities, okay? Now, I told you I had some opportunities just for you. The U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce and American Express, they have teamed together to give away a grant called We Back Black Businesses. DOT, Department of Transportation, they have a Business Disadvantage Enterprise Program. Facebook has a Black Creators Grant. If you spend a lot of time creating on Facebook, I know I've received that grant before. National Association for the Self-Employed, right? They have growth grants. Minority Business Development Agency has business grants, right? FedEx has a grant. The SBIR, that's a federal grant. Northwestern Mutual Black Founder Accelerator, they have a grant. And for those of you who think, oh, I'm too small, I don't even have any employees. I don't have W-2 employees. I don't have 1099 employees. Let me tell you, there's a grant for you out there. You don't need to have a lot of employees. The Amarillo Foundation specializes in giving grant money to really teeny tiny organizations or those who have an all volunteer staff. They don't even have any employees. Okay. So please don't think that you have to be some large organization with tons of employees to get grants. No, no, no. This is about doing your research and finding that match that's for you. For the faith-based organizations, the Mustard Seed Foundation, that's all they do is give grants to churches and faith-based organizations. You're a fashion designer, Harlem Capital. The Lilly Foundation 2 years ago earmarked $23 million to give to Black churches and HBCUs. GiveButter.com is a group of Black philanthropists. All they do is give grants to Black organizations. Barclays Bank has a Small Business Wins grant. So for you startups, you may be thinking, I am not seasoned. I'm just starting out. Is there any money for me? Yes, there's money for startups. I always get this question too, even after. Is there money for startups? Yes, yes, yes. NSILE specializes in giving money to startups. Sky's the Limit specializes in giving money to startups. So yes, there are grants for you if you are a startup. I know I have a lot of women, Black women on the line. So this is for you, ladies. You need to apply to helloalice.com. Sign up is free. They're the largest portal of grants for women-owned small businesses, okay? Next, I have what I call the credit card grants. MasterCard and Visa both have grant programs for Black women. There's a Capital and Skull Foundation. They give a lot of grants to people of color. The Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women program is now open. Okay, I think the deadline may be the end of this month, but they're now open. Cartier has a grant. Amber Grants for Women. They give away $25,000 a year and then $10,000 every single month. Okay. the Women's Sports Foundation. Now, if you have a sports organization or maybe you're in health and wellness, check them out. Okay, now, really quickly, I want you to put into the chat. When you think of banks and money, what do you think about? Really quickly, into the chat. Banks and money. What comes to your mind? When you think about banks and money, I want you to put into the chat, banks and money. So you will be able to get the free replay. Yes, you will get the free, everybody will be sent via your email, the free replay. All right. So you'll have it. Loans. Yes. Loans, right? Credit, interest rates. Well, did you know that banks are some of the largest providers of grants, not loans, grant money, free money. Okay. You've been going to the wrong person. It's not the bank manager. They're going to try to sell you a loan. It's not your loan officer. They're going to try to sell you a bigger loan. You need to go to the vice president, usually of community investment or community development, the VP. All right. Make sure it's a bank that has a really strong footprint in your area. All right. I was giving this webinar and a young lady, she was listening. She did her research. She found a bank that had a really great footprint in her area. She applied for a $2.3 million grant. Don't sleep on banks. Okay. They are some of the largest providers of grants money in the world. Right. So thank you so much for saying don't go anywhere, because we're going to do a really, really intense Q&A. But as I mentioned to you before, I've been writing grants for 15 years. I have never seen the amount of money that we have right now available to us. Right. And so I knew that I could only help so many people writing one grant at a time. So I decided to create a very easy to learn grant writing course, because I told you, you can do this. You can do this, because I literally took my 15 years of writing over $17 million in grants for clients. And I created a course for you because I wanted you to have a step-by-step path to funding. I want you to be impactful. I want you to fulfill that mission statement, okay? Without doing what? Bootstrapping, or just getting loans, or digging in your pocketbook and asking people for loans, right? Think about what you could do with $20, $30, $50,000 to open your business, grow your business. But what I don't want you to do is do it alone, okay? Because there are too many scammers out there. I want you to be in a community of support for you. This course will literally save at least 50% of the time that it takes to research and write a grant. I get so many questions. Is there a grant for fill in the blanks? You will no longer have to even ask that question, because you will know whether or not there's a grant for you, because I'm going to show you how to find it, because I will give you the absolute best grant research techniques. I will show you how to find a funder who literally wants to give you money. And I will show you how to approach funders. And of course, I'm going to teach you how to write every single part of the grant narrative, okay? You will be able to write grants because, as I told you before, nobody can tell your story like you. So what do you get? You get 12 modules, 35 lessons. Look, I know people learn differently, right? So I start every lesson off with a video, right? I lay the video out, and then you have a written lesson. You know what? It's interesting and it's fun because you're writing about what you believe in. So if I ask you to write about your history, you're writing about something that you know. And of course, I give you planners and workbooks and these really fun, silly quizzes, right? And I give you real grant examples. Every grant example in this course I wrote myself, and it won money. Okay, it won real money, right? And I do something that nobody else is doing. And oftentimes I have to repeat this because people don't believe me. I give you a list of over 450 funders, okay, including 50 new ones that only provide funding to entrepreneurs. 450 funders, right? And I know a lot of people who create these courses, you buy it, you never see them again. I give you a private Facebook group where I'm in it all the time. And if anybody is in that Facebook group, give yourself a shout out because it is, oh my gosh, it has been lit this week. Okay. It has been amazing, right? I've placed probably 4 or 5 new grants right in the Facebook group. But what's so amazing is that it's a community. So if you're writing a grant and you want somebody in the Facebook group to maybe look at it for you, usually they will do it, right? They'll say, sure, I'll take a look at it for you, because we're trying to help each other, right? And I give you 1 hour of group coaching. And in that 1 hour, we do a deep dive on your business. It is a group setting, so you get to come up and talk about your organization and ask me anything, because I don't want you to just buy the course. I want you to get grant money, right? I'm here to help you get grant funding. So what are we talking about in terms of the price? I've had the course audited 3 times, right? And this is what the course is valued at. The 12 modules are worth $3,549. The videos are worth $599. The 400 funders, right? That list is worth $499. I give you workbooks. Everything is downloadable, by the way. All of your lessons, even the videos are downloadable. The planners, and you know how important it is to track those grants, right? That's worth $350. But are you paying that? No, you're not going to pay it. It's worth $5,000, right? But the regular price is $997. Now, we're in Women's History Month, so the price is $497, and that's what people pay. But that is not what you are going to pay tonight, because you decided to spend over an hour with me. So I know you need the help, right? So I'm giving you literally a 50% discount off of the $497 price. So guess what? Your price is $247, one payment. A lot of people think, okay, that's a monthly payment, I can do it. No. It is not monthly. It is one payment. You are one and done. And I'm also doing something that I never do. If you don't have the $247, I'm giving you the opportunity to pay over the course of 2 months, $137.50 a month for 2 months, right? And I don't drip my course. So even if you get the course at $137.50 with 2 payments over 2 different months, as soon as you pay the $137.50, you get the whole course. Everything's online. Everything's self-paced. Now, if you want to make the one payment, you do need this code. That's important, right? So when you go to buy it, you put in the code, it will take 50% off, and you'll be able to pay literally $247 for everything. And guess what? Look, I'm a small business. We have small businesses with us and nonprofits. I know life happens, right? You may buy the course and think, I'm going to start tonight. And a week from now, you haven't been able to start. This is why the course never expires. It never expires, right? So at the end of those 12 modules, you're ready. You have a complete grant proposal because you've written it out that you can use to apply for grants. Of course, you're going to tweak them. But you have 450 grant providers. So you are literally ready, right? This is everything that you get. I didn't even talk about the letter of inquiry, right? But you're going to do a deep dive in everything. And then you're going to have help along the way, right? And yes, I'm doing this for the culture, because this course is a $5,000 course that you're paying $247 for, right? But of course, there's a deadline. You have literally 3 days, right, to get everything but $247, right? Sunday, March 26th, it goes away. I don't want you to pay the $497. I want you to pay the $247, right? So that you can get this course and get the help that you need, because I do not want you to be in the same position a month from now, asking yourself, like, how did that person get a grant? How did she get a grant? How did he get a grant, right? People are getting grants every single day that look like you and me. So please do this for yourself. Please invest in yourself and learn how to get this done so that you can start getting grant money too. Now, once you go into the portal, you hit the $497 button and you can put in purchase, and it will take you to a page where you literally put in the discount. Or if you want to make the 2 payments of $137.50, you just hit that little drop down arrow and it comes down, and then you can make the 2 payments. Now, with the 2 payments, you don't even need a discount code, okay? You don't even need a discount code. But if you want to make the 1 payment for $247, you hit the $497, it will bring you to this page and it says have a coupon. You input the coupon that you've been given. It will immediately take up $250, right? So you'll be paying $247. Now look at this little block here. A lot of people take advantage of this because they want to talk with me privately one-on-one. You can do that. That's normally $495 an hour, but you get a reduced rate because you're buying the course of $195 an hour. And in that hour, we do a deep dive in your organization. It's just one-on-one, you and me. You can ask me anything you want about getting funds, your course, so that I make sure that you're really on the right road. So you have that option. You don't have to buy it, but the option is made available to you now. Why is it important right now for you to do this? One, my group coaching session is Monday. So once you buy the course, I want to see you in the group coaching on Monday. It's like you're going to be ready to go. Okay, but also this is very important for you to know. There are many grant providers where you have to apply when they have money, and they always have money at the beginning of the year, because sometimes by May or June or July, the money is gone. Okay, so you need to be applying for grants now, because I don't know how much longer this money is going to be available. Now, yes, there are grantors that they have cycles, right? So you can apply twice a year, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. But organizations like Verizon and Walmart, they tell you apply early, because our money is going to be exhausted by the summer. So now is the time for you to start applying for this money. And as I mentioned, the program works because just last month, one funder got $35,000. And these are some of the incredible testimonies. Literally, I just got this one yesterday. I tell you, Paula, she had me in tears. She said, I love how you can go at your own pace. And the downloads are awesome. I can't believe we got all what we got for such a great price. And the videos are on point as if she's talking directly to me. So that was great. Mayetta, again, she posted this 2 days ago. She said she completed her course. She said, this is definitely one of the best investments I have ever made. Kelly got a $75,000 grant for her colleague, and then turned around and got additional grant money for herself. Quintina says, thank you, your course in culture, because I believe in creating a safe culture, okay? Has been an amazing experience. Thank you for creating this space. I'm super excited. Yesterday, I got my first grant award letter. Farah, you can't make this up. She got 5 church grants for her mother. 5. Okay, Reverend Smith got a $35,000 grant for her church, and Brian got a $30,000 grant, right? People look like you and me are getting money, okay? Excuse me. So we're going to go to the Q&A, and I'm going to start in the Q&A, and we are going to then go over to the chat to answer your questions. All right, so let's go. Let me stop the slide presentation, and now we're going to go to the Q&A. And yes, it's $247. It's the one payment. Like, people think it's a month. No, it's just one payment. So does the same information apply for transportation shuttle service? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. So there are organizations that are in the transportation industry that get grants, yes. How would you recommend getting started if you want to become a professional grant writer but lack experience? One of the first things I would absolutely recommend is that you get the course. There are people who, after they took the course, became professional grant writers, because you're learning from somebody like me. I've been in this business for 15 years, and I've secured $17 million, right? So you're learning from a knowledgeable source. But also, you can always volunteer to help people write grants to get experience, right? But if you are already a grant writer, you start with a lower rate, right? People like me can charge $100 to $200 an hour because of our experience. But if you're just starting out, maybe you want to only charge $25 or $35 an hour to get some experience under your belt. But learn first, definitely. Learn the nuances, right, of becoming a professional grant writer. And also, you can ask me questions when you buy the course. A lot of people ask me questions that really don't have anything to do with grant writing, but they know I've been in business for 15 years, and I know a lot of people. So, for example, I had a young lady last week. She created a product, and she had a patent on it. and she was having trouble bringing it to market. Well, I happen to know the inventress, who is the QVC and HSN queen, and she's a consultant to Shark Tank. So I did an introduction, right? So if you buy the course, you come into the Facebook group or come into the group coaching, I can give you even more information on really what you do to start off successfully as a professional grant writer, because I have a lot of information I can share with you. So this is a great question, Essence. How do you keep going if you aren't granted any grants? It's so easy to get discouraged. Look at your process. Look at what you are doing incorrectly, right? I've laid out for you literally a process that will help you get funding. So go back and look at the process that you used and find out what you can change and do things differently. Whatever you do, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? You're going to get the same results. In the process that you used, what can you do differently? You have to do something differently. Did you meet with the funder, right? Did you research that organization? Too many people look at foundations like the Gates Foundation. They know that they give millions of dollars and they apply for those grants, but they're not even well suited, right? Did your mission match the funder that you've been seeking grants for? So go back over that whole process of what you did, review it, analyze it, find out what you did that could be improved upon. And I absolutely recommend you get the course, because I'm going to tell you how you get funding, right? I tell you what you do before you write a single syllable of that grant application. I tell you what to do when you're writing. I teach you what to do after you submit the application. Okay? There's a process. This is one of the first things I said. There's a process, right, to getting grants. And I teach you the process in the course, right? And then you get other support. There are hundreds of students, right, in the Facebook group that you can ask information from, right? The Facebook group they are remarkable how they help each other. We are a community. Literally yesterday, they said that they were going to start co-working spaces. It's phenomenal. What I don't want you to do anymore is to do this alone. That's part of the problem. Do not do this alone. Please be in a community of people who can support and help you. Answer the questions that you have. Let us know when you are applying for a grant, who you are applying to. What is the process before you submit that application? If you buy the course, you're a part of a community now, you let us know who you are seeking, who you are going after. I know so many people in foundations, right? I'm here to help you. People know I'm a woman of faith. I'm a servant leader. I'm here to help you, right? If there's any way I can help you to get that grant, right, that I'm going to help you do that, whether it's answering questions through the Facebook group, or if you want to pay for like one-on-one services, that's fine. But look, once you buy the course, the group sessions are free. The Facebook group is free. Okay. Let me see if there are any other questions. How can a nonprofit get funding without having to spend so much for help and support? Well, there you go. The course is free. The course is $247. The Facebook group is free. The group coaching session is free, right? So once you buy the course, you have free support, you have free help. And there are some grant writers that provide volunteer services. So I can connect you with different Facebook groups where I know there are some grant writers that actually provide their services on a volunteer basis. So again, you get a lot of support. All right. I am now in the chat. I'm going to go all the way. Yes, so you have 3 days to get this deal, right? 3 days to get the deal. Okay. Because I don't want you to pay the $497. I want you to pay the $247, right? Or the $137.50. All right. Other questions? The course never expires. And oh my gosh, I forgot to mention, it is tax deductible. Yes, it's tax deductible. So you can literally deduct the cost of the course from your business expenses. You will not get the slides. You will get a replay. Oh, so make sure, I'm going to give you my email. I'm going to give you 2 email addresses, right? I want to make sure you put these email addresses into your safe senders list, because the replay is going to come from one of them, and I don't want it going into your spam. So please put both of these email addresses, right, into your safe senders list. I want you to get the replay, and I don't want it going to your spam, okay? All right, so more questions. Thank you, A. Renee. What do you do if you don't have testimonials yet? Well, that's okay. You wait until you get testimonials, right? Now, you can always put in testimonials from people who've worked with you right before, people who just know your history, right? So let's take that tutoring organization, right? Well, she was a principal for many years, so she could easily have maybe her teachers, her former teachers, or her former students just give testimonials about their working relationship with her, right? So there's ways in which, of course, you want testimonials about whatever the product is, but before you get to that point, you can always have people talk about their experiences with you and knowing you, and whatever life you might have had before you even started your organization. Okay. All right. Avery Day says Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube gives out great information as well. Very good information. Yes, everybody will get the replay in your email. Yes. Okay. This is what I want everybody to do, because sometimes you have to speak this into the universe. I want you to put into the chat right now, I'm ready to get grant money. Okay. I am ready to get grant money. Into the chat. Everybody into the chat. I want you to believe this, right? I'm ready to get grant money. Into the chat. I'm ready to get grant money. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, Stephanie bought the course today. Joined the Facebook group. She's ready. She was serious. She was serious. Victoria, does the course give us a template to track funding? Absolutely. You have a grant tracker as a part of the program. That's what I'm talking about. Lenore, Tina, Yanni, Victoria, Constance, Avery, Nay. I'm ready to get grant money. Absolutely. You're not able to see the email addresses, okay? I'm going to put them in here again for you to see. Make sure you add these to your safe senders list. You will get the replay tonight or tomorrow or both. It depends, but look for this email, okay? You'll get it tonight or tomorrow morning. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Essence and Laura, right? Ham, Constance, I'm ready to get grant money, right? All right. So let me see if there are any other questions. And then, yes, the course never expires. It never expires. And it's self-paced. It's all online. It's self-paced, right? You saw some of the great reviews of people who've taken the course. They're getting money, right? All right. I believe that's it. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. And let me just check the Q&A one last time. Are there grants for domestic violence victims, right? So it depends on what you're doing with the money. So what you want to do is look for organizations that provide money to domestic violence victims, right? So if you just try to get a grant because you're a domestic violence victim, that's rare, but you can get money from nonprofits for which that is what they specialize in helping domestic violence victims. So it's all about the grant research. So when you research, you want to research organizations that help domestic violence victims. Yes, absolutely. All right, so I think that is it. That's in the Q&A. Yes, you get the template for grant tracking. Absolutely. Oh, one more question. Is it common for the applicant to ask funders what they did wrong and what could have been better? Yes. Yes. I would always recommend asking the question, right? You don't always get an answer, okay? It's rare when you get an answer, right? But you can ask the question, okay? Now, if it's a federal form, you're going to have a scoring template and they will tell you how you scored in every area of the grant. But typically the smaller grants, not so much, but always ask. Always ask. But look, if you come into our community, we're going to help you, right? We're going to help you so that you can get the grant money. All right. Okay. All right. Everybody wants to get grant money. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we are done. So thank you so much. My name is Linda Peavy, and I am the owner of LaPav Consulting LLC, and I'm the founder of the course, Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope to see you in the Facebook group. I hope to see you Monday in the grant writing group session. I want to help you. I want to move you to the next level. I hope to see you there. You have 3 days to get this great price, and I really hope you take advantage of it. I really hope you just invest just a little bit into your organization, into yourself, because it's going to be worth it. Thank you so much. I know you could have been anywhere else tonight, but you chose to be with me. So I thank you so much, and have a blessed evening. Have a blessed night. I wish you nothing but the best of luck and blessings with your organization. I could feel your passion through the screen. So I know that you have at heart wanting to help people. And this is what's fantastic. So thank you so much. And like I said, hopefully I'll see you in the Facebook group and in the group coaching session on Monday. So thank you so much, and have a very blessed day and weekend. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.